on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here to talk about King's Court, Season 1, Episode 8. I am catching up, y'all. I am catching up. I'm almost caught up with everyone. But right now, I'm on Episode 8, and I'm like, what is going on, y'all? What is going on? That is, I can't believe that at the beginning of this season, Thaddius was actually one of my favorites. But to see him now and to see more of him as I am seeing more of him, like I did in the last episode, wow. That's all I got to say is wow. He did a number on Catherine this episode. He really, really did. Um, and then we got to talk about Carlos Boozer asking Janae, how old is Carlos? 43, 44, late 40s? I don't know. Will you be my girlfriend? You guys know I love love, right? You know I love love. But there is just something in my bones that just does not trust this Carlos Boozer story. And I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It just feels fake to me, honestly. Now, I watch a lot of reality TV. Love is Blind. How long are you in the pods before you have to ask someone to marry you? 10 days? So at first I was like, well, is it because I felt like it was too soon? He locked in her and now all of a sudden he's saying, I love you. Will you be my girlfriend? First I thought maybe that's part of it. But then I thought, everyone's getting on Felicia and Tyson and saying, what do Felicia and Tyson have in common? What do they talk about? Is it all just lust? And I can get with that. I understand what people were saying. But on the other hand, I want to know the same thing about Carlos and Janae. Unless they're just not showing it, I just don't see it. You know, even on this episode where Carlos asked Janae to be his girlfriend and Catherine interrupted the date, I'm getting so far ahead of myself. Even Janae said, this is the first one-on-one date we've had. So at least on Love is Blind, you're in the pods. They're having like 11-hour one-on-one dates or whatever it is, just talking to each other. They have a chance to really get to hear about each other and learn about each other. On this show, there aren't any one-on-one dates. And you mean to tell me that Carlos has fallen in love with Janae? I just don't believe it. I don't know what to tell y'all. And I'm just wondering if Carlos is just he's a romantic. We know his story that he's been married twice. Well, actually, he's really been married 3 times because he married his first wife twice. Remember, he got married to her when he was young, 19 or 20 years old. And then somewhere along the way, he cheated. They got divorced. And then 3 or 4 years later, after they got divorced, they got married again. And then another, 3 or 4 years after that, they got divorced again for the second time. And I think that's when it was talked about that he married another woman. And it was talked about that second woman he married, he was also cheating with that woman on the first wife. So really, it's not just 2 marriages, it's 3 marriages, and he moves fast. He doesn't really stay single a long time. And here we are. I think he's only been divorced maybe 2 years, and he's already in love with Janae after meeting her, not even having a full date. I don't know, y'all. I don't want to be cynical or anything. But hey, we got to talk about this episode. We got to talk about the fact that Tyson had to make a snide remark about Sarah, who went home, talking about when she did leave, she had to poke the king one more time. Go sit down, Tyson. Go sit down. And then we got Thaddius. Thaddius sitting up here talking about he had to let Brianna go home. And then he says, yeah, I was building a connection with her. No, you weren't. You were not building connection with Brianna. And like I said in my last review, Carlos loves to draw the women in and then body slam them. Oh, he loves the body slam them. Well, Carlos is sitting talking to Janae at the beginning of the episode, and he's asking her, why are you so anxious, Janae? Well, first of all, Janae is anxious because Janae's insecure. And it's not because she's not a very pretty woman. It's because what I believe, this is just my theory. I don't know Janae. My theory is that Janae has spent a good portion of her life chasing rich men who were probably either in the entertainment or sports fields. And when Carlos asked Janae, why are you so anxious? Janae gave the answer of her entire life, which is, I'm nervous because you have too many options. Because Janae is used to dating men who have a whole lot of options. Most likely that they were wealthy, or they're famous, or they're in the limelight, or they just travel in certain types of crowds. And because those men have a lot of options and have a lot of women available to them, they were all cheaters. And here is Janae at 40 something years old, having spent a great deal of her dating life dating these types of men. And now here she is once again dating one of them. And she's nervous about what's to come because she's been here before. And there's another part of Janae that has learned to become a mean girl and to hate on other women. And that's what she does to Jennifer. And she does it to Jennifer in her confessionals. And Jennifer feels it. Janae makes a lot of comments about Jennifer needs to stay in her lane. Those types of comments are really condescending. When someone tells you you need to stay in your lane, what they're telling you is that your lane is over there and this is my lane. You're not qualified to be in my lane. Stay over there. And I don't know how Janae is going to handle 2 ex-wives with 4 kids. I just don't know how she's going to handle that. That really takes a very mature woman to handle the fact that Carlos was married to a woman for 2 times and another woman, and for Janae to never feel insecure, along with all the other women that could continuously be trying to get with Carlos. I just don't see, if she had this much trouble with Jennifer, how's she going to deal out in the real world? I really don't even know what they have in common, y'all. I don't even know what they have in common. But I tell you this, on this episode, they did this road trip and they were going out for this scavenger hunt. And they had to pick teams. It was a draft. They had to pick teams. And Thaddius chose Dr. Kalia, Ariel, and Catherine. Carlos, when he got his first pick, he chose Jennifer. Now, why did he do that? It was strategic. That's what I believe. I believe he chose Jennifer because he didn't want Tyson to choose Jennifer. Carlos, like we know, is locked in on Janelle. But what he didn't want is he didn't want Tyson to have a crack at Jennifer. So he monopolized her time and he drafted her. But in the end, she was the third wheel, sat in the back seat, and played the third wheel to the Janelle and the Carlos movie. The other group was Felicia and Allison, because that's who Tyson drafted Felicia first, Allison second, and Allison played the third wheel to Felicia. And even when they were on this sort of scavenger hunt, and the goal was to, find these things in the scavenger hunt, these places, even Janae, with her snide remarks, said to Jennifer in her confessional, keep your high fives to yourself. It's just nasty. It just really, really is nasty. And part of me feels when I say I don't really believe in Carlos and Janae, because a part of me doesn't quite believe Carlos has fallen in love in how long? How long do y'all think it takes to tape this show? All of these people are living in a house together. How long do you think it takes them to film this reality show? 30 days? You think they're in this house for 30 days? And then you have Janae having sort of this really, really, really nasty attitude towards Jennifer. When they're out on the dates, like I said, there's a lot of talk from Allison saying that she's noticing that Allison and Tyson are just now having conversations that you would think you would have had a long time ago around pets, dogs. And she says, wow, do they even have any conversations? Well, that's what I'm saying about a lot of these couples. What is going on? Is this all about lust? What type of deep conversations are any of these people having? I mean, we definitely can see all the physical attention that Felicia gives Tyson, and he loves it. Tyson loves the physical attention that Felicia gives to him. And here's another thing. Tyson likes for you to fight for him. Tyson not only likes the attention, he likes for you to fight for him. And that's the part that he likes about Felicia. If you look at Felicia and Jennifer in terms of physical appearance, I believe the case could be made that Tyson's real preference in physical appearance is actually Jennifer. If you look at his past girlfriends, what he used to date, I think it's Jennifer. Now, he didn't have access to Jennifer because Jennifer was the perfect match for Carlos, but he made it very clear that he was feeling Jennifer. And the fact that when Sarah went home, he had the nerve to say that Sarah was his number one. When he said he was so upset and he was so hurt, he said he was hurt because Sarah was his number one. Well, I always thought that Felicia was your number one. The way you and her are intertwined, her legs are wrapped around you, you act as if she's your number one. But here's the thing that I'm starting to kind of feel about Tyson when it comes to Felicia. I saw part of an interview that Tyson did with, I think it was the Breakfast Club. And he talked about that one of the reasons he came on this show was because there was a rumor out there that he was gay. He didn't like that. And there was another rumor out there that said he didn't like Black women. So for me, I didn't even know those were rumors out there, to be honest with you. And he said he came on the show to prove that wasn't true. I'm now starting to wonder if the attention or the locking in, he's not even locking in on her, but what he's doing with Allison, is it just to prove that he is into Black women? Because honestly, I think his preference in looks is Jennifer. That's just what I think. But, Felicia is shooting her best shot. I actually like Felicia. I really do. I know a lot of people think she's a pick-me or whatever you want to call it, and she's doing too much. And yeah, she's really throwing the kitchen sink at it. But there's something about Felicia where I also think that she's a smart lady. And I really do think that she really likes Tyson. I really do. But I think that he is so crafty at what he's doing. He actually has her thinking that he's more into her than he really is. That's what I tend to believe. Um, and then when it comes to Allison, he's playing the game there. Later on, Allison is brought to the elimination dinner. And basically, Allison is like, yeah, I know why I'm at the elimination dinner. We're not really a good fit. We don't really get along in terms of that. And it was Tyson who gave her back a spark of hope and drew her back in, is what I keep talking about, is this idea of drawing women in, but then also at the same time letting them go. In the end, he drew Allison back into the competition as if Allison really is going to compete with Jennifer and Felicia. We know that's not true. Why didn't you just let Allison go home? There's a part of Tyson that just loves to have a harem of women around him at all times. It's almost like he has a fear of being alone, a fear of not having someone that wants him. I don't know if this comes from childhood, if it comes from the modeling days. Remember, there's a lot of rejection that happens in modeling. I know we all look at Tyson and say he's fantastic. He's, in terms of looks, he's great. But imagine being in an industry in which you're not always chosen. There could be a part of you that's very insecure, even when you are as good looking as he is. That's what I suspect about Tyson. There is a deep underlying insecurity about him that requires all of this admiration and attention. And when anyone wants to bow out and go home, Tyson has a way of luring those women back in to make them still compete from him, even though he really doesn't want to be with them in the long run. That's how I feel what he's doing for Felicia. He does just enough to keep her interested, to keep her chasing him. But yet, does he really, really want her? I don't think so. Even in some of the reviews coming up, he keeps saying that there's something about her. But yet, when you just look at what he does, you would think that he's so into her. It's all, I don't even want to call it a game for Tyson. I think it's such a need for it. He just disregards how other people might get hurt in the process. He really does. But even after all these scavenger hunts, and Janae was not Janae, but Jennifer was the third wheel, and then Allison was the third wheel. And then we got to come to the team that is between Thaddius, with Thaddius, Ariel, Dr. Kalia, and Catherine. And that's where things started to really get interesting, right? You have Dr. Kalia, who is assertive and strong and confident. You have Dr. Ariel, who has learned to keep her mouth shut. I mean, Ariel has literally gone into a shell. Ariel has learned exactly what I've learned about Thaddeus. And what Thaddeus says is he wants a strong, independent, smart, courageous, brilliant thinking woman, but he doesn't want that woman to express any of her ideas, emotions, anything. And I say to myself, Thaddeus, why are you looking for this type of woman? Thaddeus's real woman that would compliment him is a woman who's a lot more submissive than any of these women that he is so called saying he has interest in. This part that he wants this strong, assertive, competitive woman is not what Thaddeus needs. Thaddeus actually needs a woman who will not compete with him, a woman that is willing to follow him, lead him, and basically, I don't want to call her a puppy dog or anything like that, but a woman who doesn't have the need to always speak her mind. But somehow he keeps saying that's not the woman he wants, but it's clearly the woman that he needs. I think this goes back to Thaddeus's childhood. I really do. I mean, when you look at his upbringing and what he said about his mother, I think there's a part of Thaddeus who wants a very capable woman in his life, smart, independent, and strong, because I think those are all the things that he didn't like about his mother. I think he wants a woman who's financially independent, all of it, because I think his mother is none of that. He mentioned that he gets resentful in life when he has to pay bills for other people. I don't think he wants that. I think he wants a woman, like I said, that's smart, independent, strong, confident, and competitive, because he doesn't want that version of his mother. But yet, he's triggered by that woman because that woman can somehow make him feel as if she might be chastising him or ordering him around or putting him down. And that part of him, that's the rebellious part of him that he talked about, where he had to go to a boys' reform school and he became this big, tough wrestler. That part of him doesn't get along with that woman, you see. But really, the woman that Tyson needs is a more of a sweet, mild mannered, mild temper, very no alpha women. He does not need alpha women. This reminds me of when you hear alpha women say they want an alpha male. And I always say, why would an alpha male want to be with an alpha female? And it's what I'm saying about Tyson. Tyson, you are a strong alpha male. Why would an alpha male man want an alpha female? And it's the same thing I say about alpha females. It's typically because you don't want to have to change things about yourself to get along with the person who really, really would be your match. You see, an alpha female oftentimes wants an alpha male who can handle her, who will not be um, they won't shrink with her. They won't let her run over him, right? So they go, I want an alpha male, so because I run over men who might be not as strong. I need a man to control me, reel me in. And you see, I think that's what Tyson does. Tyson runs over people, period. He runs over them. And then what he does is he wants a female, as he says, to stand up to him, but he doesn't really want it, because what he doesn't want is he doesn't want an argument in the household, you see? And that's the same thing that happens with alpha females. Alpha females say, I want an alpha male, but when that alpha male comes into their life and tries to tamper it down or control them or bridle them, that alpha female chimes up, and then the households become really combative. And that's Tyson. Tyson doesn't need the women that he's saying that he needs. He actually needs the complete opposite of that woman. But I think he is triggered by thinking that that woman is also not accomplished and all these other things, but that's not true. You can find that other combination, but I don't think he wants a woman so dependent upon him. That's the other part of him. Is he a giving person? Because that woman that he really needs, he's going to have to be a more giving and free-spirited person. And I wonder if he really is. Because this thing that happened to he and Catherine when they had the one-on-one date, and Catherine said, I want you to concentrate on me. And then afterwards, Dr. Khalil walked into the room with a towel on. I don't think it was that much of a bad thing that Dr. Khalil did. One is, I don't think she knew he was sitting in the room to walk into the room with a towel on. Maybe she did. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter. The fact that she kissed him on the forehead, whatever. This is gamesmanship. And be honest with you, although Catherine said something, she kind of didn't do too much over it. I thought it was okay. So I was really surprised that on the date, Thaddius confronted her the way that he did. I mean, he really bucked up and came to her and basically put his foot in her ass. I mean, I thought Catherine handled it well. She really tried to get the conversation back on track. She says, "Hey, I don't really want to use this date to talk about Dr. Kalia. I just wanted to be about me and you. Can we move on?" And Thaddeus, in his stubbornness, couldn't let it go. He was like a dog on a bone. And then when Catherine didn't back down from him and she held her ground, he became more infuriated. Even Catherine said, "Hey, earlier I was asking you what you liked about me, but all of a sudden now you talking to me about things you don't like about me. That's not what I asked to discuss with you." Well, none of that barking, none of that chiming up, none of that standing up for herself, whatever you want to call it. He didn't like any of it. So that's what I'm saying. You say you want this strong willed, competitive minded, independent woman, but yet when any of that is displayed, you can't handle it. And in the end, he got so upset. He got up and walked off the date. I couldn't believe it. Now, later on, did he come back and apologize? He did, but the part about his apology that I didn't like, he kind of made it seem as if it was in terms of the way things went and how it went left. He said, "I'm willing to apologize for my part." And he tried to make it seem like it was 50-50. Like, "Dr. Catherine, you apologize for your part, I'll apologize for my part." But honestly, when I look at that fight and what happened, I don't see it as 50-50. I don't think Dr. Catherine, she's not a doctor, I don't think Catherine contributed to the fight 50%. Really, of course, there's things everyone could do differently. Could there have been something she did differently? Sure. But if I'm going to attribute who was the biggest cause of the fight, I'm sorry, Thaddeus, you're going to have to take accountability for 90% of it in my book. I think Catherine handled the situation pretty well. Yes, there were some things she could have done differently. But in the end, even when he came with his apology, it wasn't even an apology acknowledging to the full extent how much wrong he did. In the end, Catherine knew it. And so when she was eliminated at the end, I think she was ready to go. I think she realized that they're not a match. And the sad thing about it is, I don't know if Thaddeus sees himself. I know he's actively participating in therapy, but I sure hope his therapist is watching his performance on this show and she does some work with him, because he needs to learn that the type of woman that he says he wants is really not a good match for him. Not at all. I think he said he's aware of some of it and he's trying to work on it, but let me tell you, he's going to be triggered all the time. Anytime a woman disagrees with him, has a different opinion, does something he doesn't like, he's going to try to punish them. After Carlos made it official that he and Janae were going to be a couple, and he went around telling the guys, "I just want to let you know I made it official. Janae's my girlfriend." What are we, in high school? Anyway, that's when we thought he was going to eliminate Jennifer. That's when he finally said, "I will release you now, Jennifer, to go on over there to Tyson and to see if you all have a connection." Well, we already know they have a connection. And I think Tyson was more than willing to go ahead and try to see what type of maneuvering he could do with Jennifer, because it's what he wanted all along. And just that quickly, it put Felicia on edge. But what he told Jennifer was he wants to see more assertiveness. He wants to see her more lovey-dovey, more touchy-feely, more physical. He wants to see more unbridled passion and actions coming for Jennifer. Because when Jennifer was sort of stuck under the armpit of Carlos, really what Tyson wanted to see Jennifer do was to wiggle and maneuver herself away from Tyson. Jennifer was being respectful of the fact that she was the so-called perfect match for Carlos, but she never wanted to be there. She always wanted to be up underneath Tyson to look at that situation. But she was so respectful to the process. And what Tyson wants is he wants a woman that will do whatever it takes to get to him. That's what he wants. And so now what he's doing is he's kept Allison around for what? He's kept, now he's got Felicia, and now he's got Jennifer, just where Tyson wants it. Three women duking it out, even though he should have let Allison go home. In his book, why? Why should I let go of one of my women when they all can sit here and duke it out and fight over me? Although I don't see Tyson in the end being able to settle down with any woman, in a lot of ways, I believe Felicia is sort of good for him because Felicia does have a fighting spirit. And you're going to need that. If you're going to be with Tyson, you better have a strong spirit because he is really going to do a doozer on you feeling safe and secure in the relationship. He even admitted it. He said that women have a hard time trusting him. Why? Because he's a big flirt, because he needs a lot of attention. Can that hole in Tyson ever be filled by one woman? I don't know if it can be. I don't know if one woman could give Tyson everything he needed to the point he wouldn't feel a need to go out and get it from other women. He's a hot mess, y'all. But in the end, that's all I got, y'all. I'm going to catch up on episode 9 and I will come back with my review of that. In the meantime, y'all take care. Talk to you later. Bye.